Boleh contact.
Hmm?
Lagi choose. Dah boleh.
Start.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to everyone. May the peace and blessings of God be upon you. First, thank you for everyone coming down this Friday evening. We hope that everyone will benefit from Adulting 101 and have your questions on Islamic finance answered. My name is Zul and I'm honored to be your MC for today. Clap ah. Okay, before we begin, just a short introduction of who we are. SMU Islamic Business and Finance Society, or SMU IBFS, is a wing constituted under SMU MS. We aim to cultivate and promote the growing interest in the fields of Islamic business, law, economics, and other faculties of studies. We are a platform of students with an inquiring mind and common interest in the field of Islam and business studies to get together to explore everything related to the Islamic finance. On top of that, we also look to create, in whatever capacity, an ecosystem of mutual benefit for Muslim undergrads, professionals, and entrepreneurs. Adulting 101 covers a range of topics related to Islamic finance. Today, our esteemed speaker will introduce to us new Islamic concepts and practices as we embark on our journey to working as adults, which will guide us to make sound financial decisions as a Muslim. Since finance is a big topic, I'm sure we all have some burning questions about it. To get them answered, there will also be a Q&A session at the end. Head to Slido and use the code. What's the code? Oh, okay. Or scan the QR code. You may do so now. Okay, before we begin proper, let us start with recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha, the first chapter of the Quran, and pray that we all be able to listen with an open mind, a sincere heart, and most importantly, with the hopes that we leave today's discussion a better Muslim with a clearer understanding of Islam. May Allah also guide us to the truth and the straight path. Bismillah. Okay, without further ado, let me introduce our guest speaker for tonight, Ustaz Zhahiruddin. He's a graduate of IIUM Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance in Malaysia with a Masters of Science in Islamic Banking and Finance. He was also the senior manager in AIBIM Malaysia for 10 years and continued to work in Fergus Investments Holdings from last year as a senior manager in Sharia Advisory and Investment. He's also a certified Sharia and advisor and auditor. Now please join me in giving Ustaz a warm welcome. Ustaz, please.
Testing. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So how are you everyone? How's your reading? How's your day today? So sound check. Can you hear me at the back? Okay? Can? Alhamdulillah. What about those in the, I believe I was made to understand that there will be some of us joining by Zoom. Yes. So how's the sound? Can they hear me? Okay? Yes. Okay, Alhamdulillah. First and foremost, all praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving me the opportunity to meet all of you over here, as well as utmost appreciation and gratitude to SMU, MS, as well as SMU IBS for inviting me to share my knowledge as well as experience with regards to Islamic finance. So before we start, can I see a show of hands? Those who at least know something about Islamic finance, have come across about Islamic finance before. Anyone? One. Okay. Pointing others, huh? 4 fingers to you. Anyone else? Zero knowledge. Okay. So as we all know that Islam is not a mere religion, because secular sense, whereby only dictating the relationship between us and God. Islam is more than that. It is a way of life. So that's why we read into that is tenets or rules with regards to the relationship among others as well, among human beings. So among others is the muamalah, whereby it's actually the rules and regulations with regards to our relationship with other people as well as and etc. So for today's session, we're focusing solely to the muamalah and maya, which is related to the financial transaction. Before we start, or maybe we can start a bit about what we'll be covering today. So please do stop me if you have any questions, if whatever I'm muttering or saying is not clear, just say it out. Okay, and definitely we'll be having a separate Q&A session. But with regards to what I'm presenting on the slides, if you do not understand, please feel free to ask. Because the purpose of having this session is after you finish it, at least you get to bring something. At least your understanding of Islamic finance will be better after this. Hopefully, you may be able to practice it and be one of the advocates of Islamic finance as well, because we really need your support. Okay, so these are the things that I'll try to cover. First, in terms of the introduction, what's the current status of Islamic finance? A brief background about Islamic finance. Then, what are the basic principles? That if you can understand these principles, if you go out there, you more or less can weigh whether or not that financial transaction is actually Sharia compliant without really going into the details. At least at the surface, you can at least differentiate whether it is okay or not okay. Okay. Then fourth, we'll try to address what are the common transactions that we face as Muslims in Singapore. Okay, and lastly, what is the way forward that we can take, and what are the actions to be taken in order for Islamic finance to spur further, to at least progress more in the future. So,
disable the waiting room.
Second.
Disable the waiting room.
Okay. Okay, as an introduction, at this juncture, based on the research conducted by Representative, previously known as Thomson Reuters, Islamic finance, the total assets for Islamic finance has reached 4 trillion. Is it a lot? Sounds a lot, huh? But if we compare to the conventional assets, financial assets, we haven't reached even 1% of it. So based on McKinsey, the current assets for conventional or globally is around or about 500 trillion. Okay. In terms of the year-to-year growth, it's around 17%. And based on the survey that they have conducted, it's based on 139 countries participated in it. If we compare to it's majority, more or less, more than half. If we compare to all the countries in the world, right now it's around 195, 197. And at this point, there are around 1,679 Islamic financial institutions which provide these products and services, Sharia-compliant products and services. Okay, so a bit about the brief history of Islamic finance. So this idea was first mooted, if we can see, by in 1963 at Egypt by Mid-Mamir. But however, this first Islamic bank, the bank itself collapsed due to the political intervention. Okay, that's why if we were to do something definitely we require some sort of political will as well, or support in order for that particular, which is something new, to prosper. Secondly, in terms of, then we got to know that IDB, Islamic Development Bank, which is one of the biggest Islamic multilateral organization for the Muslims, which is based in Jeddah, established in around 1973. Then the first Islamic bank in UAE, which is Dubai Islamic Bank, established in 1973. Then Malaysia introduced the first Islamic Banking Act. So it is really important for the infrastructure to be, introduced for these services or products to prosper. In addition to that, Malaysia also introduced during that year, or the next year, 1984, which is the first Malaysian Takaful Act, which is not written over here. Okay. So then, if we can see, Iran introduced 100% Islamic banking system, followed by Sudan in 1984. But I would like to pause over here. Some countries, they might hastily introduce or try to convert their system to Islamic or Sharia compliant overnight 100%. However, as we can see, they tried twice, 1984 as well as 1989. Reason being because they can't sustain momentum. In order to convert it, definitely there are things that we need to prepare first. For example, the approach that Malaysian taken, because I was in Malaysia, I worked there under the Association of Islamic Banking Institutions for almost 10 years. So, although Malaysia is a Muslim majority country, there are still challenges that they face, be it from the people themselves, as well as from the regulations, legally, and etc. So, Alhamdulillah, there's progress. And recently, they have, in 2013, they have introduced a new law to replace or to supersede the Islamic Banking Act, which was introduced in 1983. Okay? So, it is not visible to actually to convert it overnight, 100%. We need some progress. We need, in terms of how can we ensure that everyone is ready to embrace Islamic finance. And not to mention, because we are living in a multicultural country, so if we were to put Islamic finance as well as side by side or dual banking system, definitely there will be some arbitraging or differences that people would take advantage of it. Okay, so besides that, in 1991, IOFU was established. IOFU is a body whereby produces Sharia standards. So one of the certification that they have issued is with regards to the certified Sharia auditor as well as advisor, of which if you are interested, you can take it. There's not much requirement except you need to study all standards. It's either in English or in Arabic, and sit for the exams. Okay. Then the IFSB, Islamic Financial Services Board, which is equivalent of Basel. Is there? Anyone of you from finance background? You know Basel, right? Yeah. As setting standard setting bodies, which is provide a high level regulations for central banks to implement it. So usually the central banks issue policies for the regulator to implement it. But this one, Basel, they provide the overarching regulations for the central banks to implement it at their own countries. So IFSB is a Basel equivalent institution whereby they provide from the aspect of operations as well as institution governance, etc. This is the body which provide this kind of standards. So all these central banks, they would take the policies, deliberate it internally, and try to implement it locally or domestically. So MAS, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the member of IFSB. Okay.
Then the equivalent of Basel II standards was introduced in 2006, and so on and so forth. So these are among the institutions which was established or were established in order to ensure that the market has the right infrastructure in order for them to prosper. Okay, so what is actually Islamic finance? Any questions? What is Islamic finance? What's your understanding of Islamic finance?
It's like managing your money the halal way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Managing your money halal way.
Sharia law,
Okay. So how it differs from the normal finance? Normally, if we Muslims for food, we would be looking for shops holding the halal sign. This halal sign, isn't it? Then we, or maybe Muslim-owned shops, F&Bs. But for transaction, are we required to find something halal? Do we need to ensure that our financial transactions is Sharia compliant? What do you think?
yes. Yes.
Yes? No?
Should be.
Should be. Yes, no, should be. Any other answers? Okay, so Islamic finance basically is a financial system which adheres to a certain code of conduct, which is the basic principles of Islamic finance that I'll be touching after this. Okay, so for today I'll be touching the most basic principles of Islamic finance, so that after this, if you were to come across any financial products, can benchmark against these principles. If there's nothing, prohibited, then you can consider at face value as Sharia compliant. Okay, so let's go to the first concept, which is permissibility of the contract. So for mu'amalat as well as normal things, the basic ruling is al-ibaha, which is permissible. This is if we were to compare to ibadah, which is our salah, etc. For ibadah, the basic concept or basic principle is a tawakkuf or stop, that's prohibited. You cannot introduce any new ibadah. Okay, agree? Can I introduce any ibadah? Let's say tomorrow for Fajr prayer, instead of 2 rakats, you pray 3 rakats. Can we do that? Can we add? Now the praying time is 5. Can we add another one? Because we know that prayers is very good. It's beneficial for us. We will get many rewards from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Are we allowed to do that? No. Okay, Alhamdulillah. That's the basic principle for ibadah. However, for mu'amalah as well as other things, the basic principle is permissible. It means that on face value, it is okay. Until you find there's an evidence or in the contract itself which is prohibited. So what are the things being prohibited? The first one, the main, which is riba, usury. As per mentioned in the Holy Quran, verse, the second surah, which is Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 275. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has permitted trading and forbidden interest. Later we'll discuss what is the meaning of interest. Okay. Secondly or thirdly, in terms of the prohibition of gharar and maisir, prohibition of excess speculation as well as gambling. So based on the Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 90, O believers, intoxicants, gambling, idols, and drawing lots for decisions are all evil of Satan's handiwork. So shun them, so you may be successful. Okay. The fourth which is it does not involve in prohibited activities or substances. So based on Surah Al-Ma'idah or Surah Al-An'am verse 145, I do not find in what has been revealed to me anything forbidden to eat except carrion, running blood, swine, which is impure, or a sinful offering in the name of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are the basic principles in Islamic finance. So if you find any contracts which contain any of the three prohibitions, most likely it is not okay or not Sharia compliant. Okay. Any questions? Yes. I hope there's an interaction rather than a lecture. Because I believe you had enough of lectures. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the next one, which is types of riba. So for this one, riba is prohibited based on evidences from the Quran. As I mentioned, وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَأْذَنُوا لَا تَأْكُلُوا الرِّبَا أَضْعَافًا مُضَاعَفَةً. Then as well as فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wages a war to those who eat riba. As well as there's evidences from the hadith Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Allah curses or the Prophet curses those who involve in riba. Okay, so there are several types of riba. The first one, which is based on the Quran, whereby if you loaning or giving someone $100 and you expect that person to return you 101. So this is what happened, or this is based on the Quran. The riba in the Quran is actually covering this particular type of riba. Okay, there's an excess. But prior to that, the definition of riba is literal meaning is actually excess. Anything excess on the either money or the amwal ribawi or the items or ribawi items. Okay. Secondly, with regards to the hadith Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there are 6 ribawi items, which is gold, silver, malt, barley, tamar, which is dates, as well as grains. So for these 6 ribawi items, what are the rulings? Okay, the first one, if it is same item, for example, gold and gold, so the rule is it has to be same value and on spot basis. Okay. So second ruling, different item but same category. For example, gold and silver, different item, right? But it is based on the deliberation by the scholars, they consider it as the same category, which is medium of exchange or store of value. So for this one, it has to be only spot. Okay, so if you are transacting anything with regards to this, so it has to be spot basis. So scholars, especially for example the contemporary organizations such as Fiqh Academy, based in Jeddah or Makkah, they have actually resolved that fiat money, the money that we are currently used after the Bretton Woods incident, previously our money was backed with by gold, but only of recent they have actually take that away, and it's basically nothing lah. Okay, so this is one of the issues that we are currently facing, whereby Fed has actually printed a lot of money, and these are the challenges or issues that we are facing right now because of the inflation, the increase in inflation rates, as well as why the banks or Fed increase the rates. Okay, this is to manage the inflation. Okay. Yeah.
But what do you mean by same quantity and spot? What does the spot mean?
Spot means you need to pay on spot basis.
Oh, on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay. So like for the different category means like if I don't have if I have a different item,
Okay.
but then I can exchange the value of equivalent value, then okay.
Okay, if you have, let's say, gold and gold, let's say, you have because gold there's different types. There's 999, 916. Vehicles are more familiar with gold, right? Jewelries, for example, or gold bar. Okay, so different concentration of gold or purity, I would say. So for that, you need to exchange based on the kilos. For example, 1 kilo and 1 kilo. So it shouldn't be that 1 kilo of 999 with 1.2 kilo of 916. So cannot. So what's the solution? What's the alternative? Is that you sell the 916 first, then the money you receive from that transaction, you purchase the. This is one of the ways or the alternative, the solution that the Prophet provided when Bilal radiallahu anhu transacted or purchased a tamar, not equivalent way. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised him not to do that and provided the solution. Okay, so for those items which is the same, it has to be equal in value as well as spot basis. For those items which is different items but in same category, such as you are purchasing gold with silver, you are allowed to do so. However, it has to be done on spot. Okay, so there's you are not able to defer one of the counter values or item or assets. Because sometimes today we purchase our furniture on deferred basis, right? Buy now, pay later. Is that allowed? Huh? So does it fall under the 6 value items?
No.
No. So it is allowed. So long it's both, it's either one is in existence. You can't actually transact if both of the items are deferred. Cannot. That also cannot. Okay, based on the hadith, the Prophet's evidence from the Prophet, which the Prophet prohibits if we sell something on deferred basis for both items. That is not allowed. Okay? Clear?
I don't understand that. The last part you mentioned, you sell something on different basis.
Okay.
What's the example of that?
Deferred basis.
That means over a long term you pay.
Yeah.
Also, that's what the one is
Fantastic. Or the buy now pay later on installments. That is considered as
different basis.
deferred basis. Start with BTO. Okay, BTO. BTO is considered okay. By right, these are the general ruling. Okay. However, there are exceptions. One contract which is an exception to that is actually by Ustaz. During the Prophet's time, those farmers are in need of capital. So what they did was the investor or the buyer will provide the capital pay upfront, but the goods will be given upon raising them or upon maturity. Then the goods or whatever crops will be given to the buyer. So by the seller. So on that basis, scholars have actually did a qiyas to allow buy-on istisna. Buy-on istisna means the manufacturing contract. So basically you order something, you have agreed upon, okay, on certain day, you need to pay as well as you need to deliver the whatever item that you have actually ordered. So that is under buy-on istisna. Okay? So BTO, we can say is under buy-on istisna. Any more questions?
So this one is based on purchasing an item, right? Not loan, right?
Okay, this one is items.
Okay.
So loans, it's the first one, Quran. Okay, usually on loan, whereby I lend you $100, you return me 101. Okay, that's the based on the evidences from the Quran. So that's the second part of it. Usually in today's context, there's two parts. The first interest, when you borrow, you need to pay interest. Then you forgot to pay on certain dates. You need to pay right. Monthly basis, you need to pay. Or else they'll charge you late payment interest.
So that late payment interest falls under this one, riba jahiliyah. Whereby, during that time, upon maturity, the borrower will come to the lender and ask for extension. If you allow to extend, I will actually pay you more or double. Okay, so that difference is not permissible. It's prohibited under this one. Okay, riba jahiliyah. Yes. First, very little in terms of student loan. We'll discuss as a topic of this law. Okay.
So, what about interest you charge to protect yourself from inflation? Good question.
Okay. Basically, some scholars they try to reason to allow charging interest because to protect yourself. So because $1 today might not be the same $1 tomorrow or 10 years in the future. So on that basis, they allow or they try to justify to allow it. But I still have yet to come across scholars allowing that. Although some try to justify that, especially those economists. But from Sharia scholars' perspective, the small interest or big interest is still interest. So it's and that I think we need to look it from a bigger perspective, macro level, because it not only because of it has something to do with the fiat money as well as the inflation. That we need to look separately.
So you mentioned that additional payment for time extension constitutes under riba. Then wouldn't there be an incentive for the borrower to default, or like let's say there is not say incentive for borrower to default, but there is a lack of protection for the lenders who lend the money, because even if you give them a deferred period to make the repayment, if they don't pay on time, then there is almost zero chance of you getting the money. So how do you protect the lenders then?
Okay. So that's why, okay, first and foremost, in Islam, is there any loan? That's correct. That's loan. But the difference between the existing and the one in Islam, the one is Islam, in Islam is benevolent, or is called Hasan, which is you give 100, you need to pay 100. Nothing more, nothing less. However, it is encouraged for the borrower to pay more than they actually borrow. But unilaterally, not bilaterally. You agree upfront, you borrow me, you need to pay more. That you cannot do that. However, because you help me already, I want to pay you 150, 110. It's okay. Okay. So that's why, if we look at the evidences from the Quran, what did Allah say? وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ. So what you can do is enter into a transaction, sale transaction, so that you can lock it. And secondly, that's an underlying asset. If you can't get the money or the debts that the person owes you, at least you can recover it from the asset itself. If you sell him a car, at worst, you can actually try to get back the car itself, the asset itself. Okay, rather than there's nothing.
Yeah, it's a lot of non-asset values. Like you don't need your, I guess you don't need your friend for, you don't need your personal loan to like, oh, your friend needs cash, and you. Yeah.
So that's why loan, for loan, is you need to put inside your mindset. You wouldn't be getting back. Okay? It's a high risk, especially to friends. So as much as possible, yes. And because loan or that's why it's benevolent loan, you are helping it. Let's say if that person is unable to pay you provide an extension. And if you are able to do so, just make sure before giving out loan,
you need to do your credit check. Okay. Okay. Any more questions? Yeah.
Then, okay, like for example, this question, I just add on. So if you loan to a friend, there's this thing, I don't know the English word, cagaran.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. You are allowed to ask for collateral. But the difference is, for example, in normal pawnbroking, if you don't pay, everything will be sent off and the pawnbroker will take everything. However, in Islam, let's say if there's a collateral, what you can do, you can liquidify or you can sell off that asset or that collateral. The whatever you have, the amount that you bought, take what is owed to you, and the remaining you need to return back to the borrower. You get it? Okay. So next time you can ask for collateral. Then you can see. Okay. Any more questions? So hopefully on this part, this is one of the important principles in Islamic finance. The reason why we need to search for the Sharia compliant alternatives because of this majority. Okay. So the next one, or the topics that I'll be covering, is with regards to the instruments that we are facing in our day-to-day life. Whether or not are these Sharia compliance? If not, what should we do? Okay, let's discuss one by one. The first one, the basic one, is savings. So I believe everyone here, you have saving account. And then, do you have anyone without saving account? Okay, alhamdulillah. So the question is the interest that the bank gives you on the monthly basis or yearly basis? Right now the rates are really, really, really good, right? Because of the increase in rates by Fed, so the rates are good. But whether or not the interest that given by the bank is halal. So there are two schools of thoughts. Firstly, both are of the view that riba is prohibited. Okay? Everyone as a Muslim, we need to acknowledge, we need to believe that riba is prohibited. Okay? However, in terms of implementing whether that particular, for example, interest is riba, that's another thing. So let's go to those who actually permitted this fawaid or increase when you put money with them, and you'll be receiving some amount of money. Among those, Sheikh Abdullah Muhammad Zawawi, who was Mufti in Mecca for the 14th century Hijri. Then Sheikh Mahmud Shaltut as well as Sheikh Muhammad Said Qantawi, both of them are Shaykhul Islam. Okay? And also Majlis Ulama Islam Singapore, they also consider especially the interest given by POSB, because they consider POSB as a cooperative bank. It is a so-called under government, so they allow it. Okay? However, there's actually this one, Sheikh Muhammad Qantawi, there's a fatwa issued by Azhar in 2002. But this was rebutted by the International Islamic Fiqh Academy of the Organization of Islamic Conference, OIC. They are the pronouncement. So basically, majority views that any increase, if you place your money in the account and you'll be getting any returns from that, it is considered riba. It is considered as interest. Okay?
Also, there's around 200 over pages issued by Supreme Court of Pakistan, the first in the world, which has declared that the banks are actually haram. Okay, and among those actually issued that verdict is Mufti Muhammad Zhahiruddin, which is one of the leading scholars in Islamic finance based in Pakistan. Okay, and there are many others also subscribe to this view. So, for example, in Singapore, what alternatives do we have? So, we do have some Islamic windows, such as OCBC, Maybank, and CIMB. Not to say that everything under these banks are halal, forbidden. However, they do have or they do offer Sharia compliant products. Okay, so in terms of accessibility, better to open with OCBC. There's a lot of ATMs out there. You can also use UOB's ATM without any costs. Okay, Maybank, it's good if you are frequent traveler to Malaysia as well, whereby you can withdraw money from Maybank Malaysia without any additional cost. So basically, there will be a conversion, daily conversion depending on the rate. Okay, as well as CIMB, whereby you can open their accounts online. Okay, let me pause over here. Any question? Okay, can. So these are the evidences or the wordings or the pronouncements to share with you. This one is actually excerpts from the fatwa by Muiz. You can try to understand the reasoning behind it. We in Singapore, we do live in a unique situation. Okay, so we can agree to disagree. However, these are the position that Muiz has taken. We need to respect that. Okay. And if we look, the pronouncement was issued in 1988. Maybe during that time, there is no Sharia compliant accounts available. So it is okay. Okay. However, today we need to think ourselves, we need to ask ourselves whether or not that rulings can we apply the same ruling to today's condition. Assuming that we do have alternatives. If we do not have, then there's another principles that we can adopt, which is that necessities allow us to actually dwell in something which is prohibited. Okay. And this is the secondly excerpts from the fatwa issued by Sheikhul Azhar, Sheikh Said Muhammad Al-Tantawi. Okay. Then this one, the text issued by the historic judgment or by the Supreme Court of Pakistan. The present financial system based on interest is against the injunctions of Islam. Okay. Then lastly, the resolution number 133 by Fiqh Academy of OIC, which actually mentioned that interest on bank deposits is Sharia prohibited riba. Okay. Next, debit card and credit card. Anyone with debit card? What about credit card? Okay. Then what about charge card? There's different types of cards available out there. Okay. Let's go to the debit card first. So what's the ruling of debit card? Basically, debit card is a neutral card. It depends on your account. If your account is Sharia compliant, it ties to one of the three banks that I mentioned earlier. If the account is a Sharia compliant account, then the card itself is okay to use, useful to use. Okay. However, if it's tied back to the interest bearing account, then there's an issue. So these are the benefits as well as I tried to do some comparison. I've actually extracted out from Value Champion as well as added a few in terms of the share compliant as well as cost of fund. So secondly, in terms of fund limit, it is based on account balance. So whatever you have inside your account, you can use it. Okay. However, for credit card, it is based on the credit limit assigned to you. It's on your credit checks. If you have the income, then definitely they will give you a higher limit. Unless you are a supplementary card holder, you got that card from your either parents or whoever wants to give you that card. Okay. What are the advantages? Firstly, if you would like to manage your finances, definitely debit card is the way to go. Okay, we know that. As well as you are allowed to, there's no cost if you withdraw your money from the banks providing that card. Let's say if you have OCBC account, then you withdraw from OCBC, there's no charges levied upon you. Okay. As for credit card, there is strong fraud protection. Today nowadays, there's a lot of scams, right? So if you use your debit card, most likely there's no possibility of retrieving your money back. Okay? But however, if it's credit card, because that money belongs to the institution, and also they have actually put a stronger fraud protection. So they just cut off and issue you a new card for you to use. So you are not required. Let's say if your credit card they detected some fraudulent transaction, let's say the amount is 10K, you are not required to pay. Okay, but if it's debit card, alas, your money gone already. Okay. Secondly, it is really good if you want to establish a credit score. Why? Because later on, one part of our life we would like to take mortgage. So these banks, especially those without credit ratings or credit score, they tend to put higher risk pricing on you. So eventually, if compared to someone that says both same account, one has history, another one without history, those with history do pay master, they tend to give a better rates. They tend to receive better rates compared to those without any history. So one of the ways to create a credit score is by using credit card. Okay. However, be mindful, credit card has one of the biggest interest rate among other products. So it ranges from 24 to 32%. Okay. Compared to other products. Because credit cards is considered as high risk, or in other words, it's non-collateral products compared to those with collaterals. They tend to offer you a better rate or lower rate. Let's say HDB mortgage right now. For HDB, what's the rate? 2.6. Okay. Then also you'll be getting rewards and cashback. So this is one of the benefits. You can go to the lounge if you are a frequent traveler and enter the lounge at the airport for free. Okay, depending there's a limit how many times per year. However, in terms of the disadvantages, firstly I've mentioned limited protection for debit cards. Secondly, limited funds. So if you have $100, then you can only spend $100. You cannot spend more than that. Okay. And also overdraft fees. Overdraft depending on the terms and conditions provided for the bank. Let's say you paid something which is 110 and your account balance there's only 100. Sometimes the bank they give you extend a credit of $10. But then you need to pay that within a short period of time, else they will you so-called overdraft fees. Okay, fixed fees as well as if you pay late, then late payment charges, late payment fees, late payment interest. Okay,
For credit card, one of the biggest issue is debt. Yeah. For example, in Malaysia, one of the those bankrupt, one of the reason is because of the too much debt, credit card debt in Malaysia. Okay. Secondly, the interest, as I mentioned earlier, the interest rate is very, very high. And surprisingly, for Singapore, we do have high interest rate compared to Malaysia for credit card. For Malaysia, maximum is 18%. However, in Singapore, it's up to 32. Big weight. Consider that usually for developed countries, their interest rates are quite low at the lower end. Those developing or third world countries, usually their interest rates are towards the high end. Okay. And lastly, in terms of Sharia compliant, debit card, yes, as I mentioned, if you subscribe or you open an account, within the 3 banks, then definitely you'll be getting a debit card. However, at this juncture, we do not have any Sharia compliant credit card in Singapore. Inshallah soon we'll have by this year, inshallah. Okay, any question? Yes.
It means that there's no credit card companies that do not offer any interest payment. Like as in, yeah, I borrow without any interest. Is that such a thing?
Okay, for example, Sharia compliant credit cards, they do not use the loan-based contracts. Because in Islam, loan, it has to be interest free. So how do they make money? Because they are a profit-oriented institution. We need to make money. So these banks will enter into transaction, sale transaction. So there's a few types. I don't want to explain the details because it's going to be complex. Yeah. So there are out there in Malaysia and Arab GCC countries. Yeah.
And like, let's say if we were to borrow this our credit card, right? But we pay off before the deadline, so you don't incur any interest. Is that still permissible?
Okay. There's some people say that you are allowed to do that, but personally, I tend not to agree with that. Because the reason being, it is not out of necessity. Later we'll discuss about the necessities such as mortgage. It is one of the biggest ticket items that it is really, really important in our life, especially for Singaporeans, considering that the prices of the house is gonna be crazy. I don't know during your time when you were about to purchase, okay. So, but credit card, that's why. If you manage your finances prudently, inshallah, you will be able to finance your purchases. So, especially if you can do check this, or worst case, if you can find an interest-free alternatives. Yeah.
So like let's say if I have $100 and this costs $100, I can afford it.
Yeah.
But because I want to get like the credit score, I use my credit card to pay first, then immediately I pay. That one is not advisable.
Okay. The transaction there's no riba, but there's no riba in that.
Yeah.
But because there's another thing, you are supporting them. Whether now or the thing or the one. That's the thing. That's the issue, another issue. Unless that company itself will be able to provide the Sharia compliant alternatives. Yes, some people, some scholars or some asatidzah actually mention, yes, so long as you don't actually pay the interest, it is okay. But there's another thing. But I leave it the option to you. Okay, the reason why, at least whatever you do, at least you do an informed decision. Okay. I wouldn't say you do. Okay, you use credit card, you haram, you go to hell. No, such thing. Okay? But anything we'll discuss, and at least when you do, this is the thing. Okay, what's the issue behind it? What are the Sharia concerns behind it? If you can alleviate or you can remove that Sharia concerns, it should be okay. As we go back, we main principle behind muamalah is permissible. If you can remove such issues, prohibitions from that transaction, yeah, okay. Okay. Next, study loan. Yes, Singapore is rather unfortunate. We do not have per se financial institutions offering study loan, China compliant study loan. Okay, for many reasons. Later we will discuss in terms of how can we actually instigate or initiate this kind of loans or financing for students. Okay, so what are the concerns from in relation to the study loan just now? If we tie back to the principles that we learned just now in terms of the riba, so this is one of the key issue. Unless you can get a study loan interest free, which I've listed down some alternatives, whether you can apply from Mendaki or maybe Sinda. Okay, you can explore your options, or you can try getting bursaries from LBKM or other main government organizations, yeah, as well as scholarships. But before that, I would like to ask, among you, who has actually taken a study loan? From which bank?
Not private, CPF education.
Or CPF education. So, what's the terms given?
The interest is incurred from the day you start school, but the repayment starts only 6 months after, 2.6%. But the lender who has to be your parent can waive off the interest if they have hit their sphere FRS.
So I think
They can waive off the entire loan if they hit their FRS.
yeah. So basically, it's by your parents lah. But I think can use that and essentially waive the interest. Okay. So, any besides CPF, any other organizations? Among you, what about you? From the school. So, what's the term from the school?
Interest rates are average of all the banks. So like it's 1%.
Is there any incentive that say if you manage to obtain certain rate, they will either waive the interest or convert it into scholarship? So if you think it is necessity, then please ensure that as much as possible, limit it. If you do not prolong it. If you be able to pay in advance completely, okay, because as part of necessities, if you think that it is necessity, then the necessity has to be taken immediately. For example, if you are dying, there's nothing else except the smoke, then eat it just to satisfy your hunger, not until you burn. Okay? So what is required of it? Ya Allah, anything? Anything else? Anything else? Okay. Yeah, I do understand the dilemma behind it. Yep. So hopefully, may Allah, bless us as well as accept our repentance later on, inshallah. Okay. So in terms of investment, so any one of you have started to invest? Alhamdulillah. Start earlier. Start learning. First, invest in knowledge. Don't start invest a lot of money in especially these new securities or assets without having the right knowledge. And when you invest, remember, especially with the high risk, bear in mind there's a possibility that you get zero. So only invest with money that you think that you can bear with the losses. Okay, don't use your salary loans to invest. Okay, we give cash out, and we usually provide towards paying off your loans directly. So it's good. So in terms of investment, what are the prohibited lists for Islamic finance? So these are the sectors that is not allowed. First, tobacco. Okay, so we do not subscribe to the opinions. Maybe during that time, previously they said it's only makruh. Okay, but scientifically, there's evidences that it is haram rather. Okay, then excess debt. The reason why, because in Islam, sale of debt there's issue. Okay, you cannot sell your debt. Then the third one is alcohol. Fourth, firearms, gambling, adult entertainment, input of food stocks or these impure food stocks, as well as usurious institutions. So these are among the benchmark or qualitative methodologies put across by the scholars or by the financial institutions in assessing whether or not that stocks is China compliant or not. Okay, so these are among the methodologies. So for Singapore, recently we have actually issued or launched a Sharia compliant stockbroking platform, which is under CTS So if you are interested in buying stocks, you may open an account with that. Okay, so what is about Sharia compliant stockbroking platform? Whereby this platform allows you to purchase Sharia compliant stocks. Firstly, they will advise which are the stocks which fulfills either of these requirements. So they'll put an indicator S. So that stock means that it is Sharia compliant. Secondly, it only allows you to purchase Sharia compliant stocks. So if you would like to purchase a stock, let's say renting the casino, so they would put a stop. You are unable to pursue the transaction. Okay. Okay. The next one, in terms of the mortgage. So in Singapore, at this juncture, we do not have any client alternatives. In terms of getting the mortgage, you can get it from HDB, which is fixed at 2.6. Okay. Or we can get it from the banks. Previously, it is quite attractive to get it from the banks because they offer lower interest rates. Okay. However, today, because of the current situation, the banking loan or banking mortgages are quite higher compared to the HDB interest rate. I think it's around 3 or 4% right now. Okay. However, there are certain requirements because before you apply for BTO or resale, you need to do your credit assessment or financial status before you be able to proceed with it. Yeah. Okay. So what should we do? There's no Sharia compliant alternative out there. Okay. So on this basis, I would like to quote the fatwa issued by the European Council for Fatwa and Research. So basically, they are an organization, a fatwa organization, which provide guidance for Muslim minorities. So we are also minority in Singapore. So what they say, sees no harm buying mortgage house only after exhausting our efforts to find a Sharia compliant alternative. And also, there's certain restrictions that have been put across. The first one, the house to be bought must be for the buyer of his household. It means that it's a residential. We are staying there. It's not for investment purposes. Secondly, do not have any other house. Third,
the buyer must not have any surplus of assets that can help him to purchase a house. If we have 1 million in the bank, then although we do not have any house, we are unable to use this fatwa. Okay? So on that note, there is also dispute from the other scholars. They disagree. However, this is, I believe, majority in Singapore subscribe to this view. If it's for investment purposes, yes, definitely. No. But if it's for your residential, your first house, or the house that you are staying, then try to minimize your exposure to riba. Okay? If you need 500, don't take 600. Okay? Try to minimize your exposure to usurious transaction. Okay. Next, CPF. So as we all know, CPF is a compulsory pension saving scheme. Once you start working, your employer, by law, has to deduct 20% of your salary. Okay, so 80% will bring home 80% of your salary. So 20% will be credited to your CPF account. Okay, so what usually CPF does or do with your money? So they'll be investing in SSGS, Special Singapore Government Scheme. Okay, so these bonds, which is issued and also guaranteed by Singapore government, the returns are based on the CPF returns, as per stated in the CPF Act. Okay, so what's the issue here? Yes, guaranteed. Okay, guaranteed if it's from third party, China-wise is allowed. But if it's from the issuer itself, then there's an issue. So this transaction is similar to a riba. You loan 100 and you get a guaranteed return of 110, for example. So that's why in investment, one of the key things that you need to look at whether or not it is fixed return. The fixed return, it is not allowed unless there's underlying transaction behind it, for which it's too complex to explain at the moment. Okay? But generally, it is not allowed. Okay? So, MUIS has actually issued a fatwa on 13 May 2003, whereby the interest given by the CPF is not considered as interest. Okay? Although personally I disagree lah. Okay? So, however, because firstly, in terms principle wise, it is really important for us to have a pension scheme. We can learn from the applications out there. For example, in Malaysia, they have recently offered or issued a Sharia compliant CPF, whereby although the rates or the profits, dividends, theirs is not fixed like us. Ours is fixed. If it's OA, certain percentage, SA, certain percentage, certain percentage. But for Malaysia, it is dividend wise. So depending on performance. However, that is a floor rate. If let's say the funds are not performing, so the minimum rate will be getting a certificate. And this is guaranteed by the government, third country rather than yeah. So although the rates are a bit lower, but the dividend is 100% higher. Compared to if you, let's say, if you do not migrate to China compliant GPF, although you will be getting a higher dividend, but you need to cleanse it. So at the end, because the amount or the percentage that they invested in non-China compliant assets is more than half. So let's say your dividend is 1,000, your net dividend or the China compliant dividend is around 500 or less than that. Compared to, let's say, if you invest in China compliant ETF, you'll be getting, let's say,
800, but 800 is all halal. Okay. So for us, this is the position. Okay, Muiz mentioned it is halal, permissible directly. Okay, there's no issue. But to me, there's issue. As I mentioned, fixed return. However, on the basis of necessities, we do not have any other alternatives. So we may use it based on our requirement on need basis. Okay? Okay? Okay. Next. I believe, have you started paying any tax? Anyone? Come on, GST is one of them. It is also tax. Okay. So I can't find any deliberations by Moody's on tax. However, the general ruling actually, the government is not allowed to charge any tax unless, unless. The reason why, if the government has other avenues to get income and it is sustainable, then it is not allowed. However, maybe because of today's requirement, there's a lot of benefits or grants or whatever to support the people. They may actually charge tax to actually recoup or to facilitate to fund these incentives. Okay, so this has been extracted by the from the Muzakarah Jawatan Kuasa Majlis Kebangsaan. It is based in Malaysia. We can take benefit from it. Okay, if a government wants to actually charge tax, these are the things that they need to consider. Firstly, to implement Sharia. Second, the government is in need of income. There is no other ways, because it happened throughout history. There's a king actually wanted to finance the war, so the king requested from Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah. You heard about Imam An-Nawawi, Riyadus Salihin? So he asked from Imam An-Nawawi to issue a fatwa, allow him to get money or charge tax to the people. However, Imam An-Nawawi rahimahullah declined to do so because that each and every servant of the king wears a gold bracelet. So the king or the government itself has to actually use their other means first before charging in taxes onto the people. Okay, not to burden them. Okay. Then third, tax is collected to fulfill the necessities and needs of the country. It is collected fairly, and it should be spent for the benefit of people, not for something which is unlawful. Let's say the king or the government wants to enjoy, definitely they are not allowed to actually charge any taxes to the people. And lastly, it should be distributed in accordance or guidance of the scholars. This you may refer this as a basis, but generally in Singapore, there's no issue for you to pay taxes. Yeah, be a law-abiding citizen, pay your taxes. But there's another thing. Educate yourself in terms of the effectiveness or efficiency of paying tax. There's some benefits. You need to learn about that, so that as much as possible you can reduce payment of tax legally. That's why those rich people, they have tax advisors to help them not to pay any tax. Even if you have companies, I believe may have businesses. Some of you are entrepreneurs. There are legal way to not to pay tax. Okay, so you need to study about that. Okay,
I think that non-Muslim country pay tax to the Islamic government. So why is that not paying?
Okay, this is in return to the safety and protection given by the government. Okay? Because Muslim, we are not paying tax, but we are paying zakat. Okay? So in Islam itself, we have already a mechanism to bridge the income disparity. So one of the key issues or social issues in village life is actually the income inequality. Although Singapore, if you can see, we are among the richest, but how many of us are really, really rich? It is because a lot of millionaires or billionaires living here. That's why we are considered as one of the, richest country in the world. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Okay. What needs to be done? So as we can see that in Singapore, we still have some challenges. Or not every instrument out there are Sharia compliant. What should we do? Okay. Firstly, we need to educate ourselves and create awareness to our families, friends, as well as community in terms of the importance of having a Sharia compliant lifestyle. Secondly, we need to advocate Islamic finance, the regulators, as well as the organizations, institutions, so that they would well know the demands of the ground. That the Muslims, we require these products or services to be Sharia compliant. And lastly, once the product is launched, what you need to do is to support it, patronize it, as well as, if need be, if you can innovate or create the product itself. For the, let's say, if you want to be a fintech or a startup which addressing these gaps, then by all means. Okay. With that, that's all for today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you, Ustaz, for the insightful sharing. Let's move on to the Q&A. Do put your questions into Slido, or you can raise your hand to ask. Do also upvote the questions that you want. We will try to answer as many questions as possible. Are you ready?
Yeah. I think this is one in the
Why? You stay here.
That's a good question. So like you mentioned about mortgages, what about cars? Because I'm pretty sure like, most people, once they have families, then they will need to go around with cars, and cars usually you also take a loan with it. Do you apply the necessity ruling on that, or do you, or are there
I'm trying to do
actually
it.
Sharia compliant loans available for cars?
Okay, for cars, alhamdulillah, we do have. It is offered by Maybank. So we do have Sharia compliant vehicle financing offered by Maybank. So first and foremost, try to get the Sharia compliant ones first.
Actually, that's something.
So you want to answer the question? You want to tell me the
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so the first question will be, Ustaz, can we own a DBS savings account and pay zakat on it? If cannot, why is the option available?
Okay, first and foremost, in terms of okay, so let's say we have at the moment a DBS savings account. So we have actually earned interest from it. So what should we do with the interest? As we know, the interest is fluctuated, so we cannot take benefit from it. So by paying zakat, okay, zakat on the other hand is actually an obligation imposed by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala on the halal one, on the halal principle. So you only pay zakat based on the halal principle, not including the interest. Okay? So what you need to do with the interest, you can channel that interest to the Baitul Mal, such as monies or other Malay Muslim organizations to purify it. And secondly, you cannot take benefit from it. Okay. Without specifying, I am the donor. Okay. So you just give it. I wouldn't say donate because usually donate there's application where you get reward. This one is actually to purify from this unlawful assets. Okay, so you just give it without mentioning from who. Okay.
Salam Ustaz, would like to know the hukum on working in banks, in particular for software engineering.
A tricky question. Do you have any alternatives on that? The question is sometimes
both in Islamic language.
if you can work in some banks, yes, by all means. But sometimes, it is tricky to answer this because we need to understand in terms of risk or wealth that Allah gives to us. It is His planning. Okay, so if we really believe on His planning, inshallah, if we do not get that position at software management in the bank, we might get at other top companies, for example, Amazon or Meta, okay, but not Metaverse. Okay. So as much as possible, if you think that there's issues working in it, might as well believe in Allah, try to get any other alternatives. Unless that's really, really important, then by all means. Okay?
So you say that it's okay but not encourage.
I wouldn't say, personally, I would not advise that. But that's why I've been saying it's a tricky question. But some may say that with the intention of learning so that you will be able to innovate something which is Sharia compliant. Because in order to create which is something Sharia compliant, you need to understand these conventional products first, operations. But that one, it's case to case basis. Okay, I think that person maybe needs to sit with a scholar to seek view on that. Special pronouncement for that person. But to say general view, I would say no. Okay, but for certain person, then it's case to case basis. Okay.
So it's a follow-up question. So like for example, let's say if I'm working food delivery, and then I have to deliver non-halal food or alcohol. So at least that I get instead of.
Okay. I think this one has actually been deliberated and used before. So let's say if you are working at 7-Eleven. That's okay. Firstly, if it's possible for you to reject that job, it's better. But let's say you cannot reject it. I mean, so long as majority of it, your job scope, it is compliant, it is halal. So maybe there's a mix a bit, yeah. Okay. But if you can reject, it is better. But if you can't, then because we are living in a multicultural country, to per se, subscribe to that. I'm not sure in terms of the Grab delivery, is there any requirement for you to have only halal would you be able to do that?
I know, but before we accept, you can see the restaurant. See what we can reject.
Then that's an option. Sometimes, because there's requirement on daily basis, right? You need to accept that one. Then if you don't accept or reject, you don't get any incentive, something like that. So then, if possible, if you can reject, if not, then onwards. Okay, especially if you think that shop is really 100%, let's say liquor, 100%, only selling liquor, then that's what I would advise. Reject it. But if it's a mix, some food is considered as vegetarian, some food considered as there's elements of small non-compliance, then it's considered a mix. Okay.
So it's back to the bank one there.
Yeah.
Is there like a difference if like I work as a security guard at a bank or HR at a bank and like software engineer at a bank? So same jobs.
Some of it is working directly, that's sales. You are working directly, you are promoting that non-China compliant method. Whereas some are not working directly. Like for example, security, it's not related to safety, just to provide comfort, security, peace, to ensure that the bank is safe. Then definitely there's a different ruling to it. But for software engineering, what is the reason behind it? If it's creating the programs directly dealing with the usury items, or you are working as a cybersecurity programmer. So that's why, as I mentioned, it requires a case by case basis rather than giving everything is okay, everything is not. So it has to be one-to-one method. Yeah. Okay. So if you think that there's a shubha, might as well leave it.
The next question. Salam Ustaz, what do I do with the money earned from interest in my bank account?
I think I've responded to this just now, whereby you are required to verify it, give it to the Baitul Mal, which is Mulis, or other Muslim organizations, without actually specifying it strongly. Okay.
Okay. Then the next one is, what is the ruling on crypto?
Okay. So before that, anyone investing in crypto? No one. Nobody. Why?
To all the time. All the time.
So, in terms of crypto, there are two views. Those, I would say three. Those who allow it, but on the basis, sometimes people have to take on face value. They just say this scholar allow crypto, whereas these scholars or organizations, when they allow it, they only allow certain cryptos, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, not those nonsense crypto. Because crypto, you need to understand, you need to read the white paper. Okay? You need to understand the underlying processes behind it. Some, for example, Bitcoin as well as Ethereum, they have their unique selling point. They have their unique system behind it. Whereas some, it is actually, I would say, official. Okay? Because people tend to, because of the crypto mania, people tend to actually create it and listed it. Whereas there's no value or intrinsic value behind it. Okay? And also some cryptos, they are actually backed with real money. Like if I'm not mistaken, USDC or USDC, something like that. Okay, it is actually equivalent to the fiat money. $1 crypto of that is equivalent to one USD. So that is considered as a crypto, a really crypto. And secondly, for those scholars who actually allow crypto, for example, Bitcoin, Ethereum, it is actually, they consider it not as currency, but as digital asset. Okay, so different ruling. If you consider it as a currency, then it falls under the ruling of ribawi item, as we learned just now. So if it's USD and USD, you cannot sell it at different value. Okay. But if it's one is asset or digital asset, another one is you are paying using currency, then it's okay. If there's a different basis. So in terms of crypto, many scholars disagree with it. Be it in terms of the underlying as well as the volatility, because a lot of people who actually invested in crypto and they got burned badly. Okay. And also those who allow it, there's criteria behind it. So it is not a general blanket ruling that crypto is permissible, but you need to look at what type of cryptocurrency you are investing in. Okay.
Okay, next question is, how do you get a good credit score without having a credit card?
Usually credit score you will get from these financial institutions. Then you need to have maybe financing from the bank, renovation financing or automotive financing. Okay. So yeah, unless you wait for the Shanghai Alliance credit card, be a transactor, not a revolver. You understand? Transactor means let's say if there's a Shanghai compliant card, use it wisely. Use and pay. Do not let that financial institution charge you any profit or fees. So if you use it to pay certain, then make sure you pay it off. Okay? Do not leave it hanging. Okay? So majority are transactors, whereas revolvers those who pay the minimum sum. Because in credit card, so long as you are paying the minimum amount, you are not considered as defaulted. Okay? But then this is where they earn the money from. Okay? So don't let them charge you. If you have the money, make sure pay in full. Okay?
Okay. From my understanding, we're not allowed to buy bonds, example, government bonds. Is this correct?
Okay. So for Singapore, bonds, as I mentioned, the issues behind it. Okay. Firstly, in terms of the fixed rates or returns you are getting, and usually it's okay. What is bond? What is bond? It's an IOU of the people, public, to the government, or to the big corporates, organizations. It's an IOU. So when it is IOU in Islam, you need to pay. You can only get your principal back without any interest. Okay? So even let's say discount coupon bond, let's say you just invest $95 and you get $100 on maturity, there's elements of interest as well. Okay?
Okay, the next question is insurance permissible?
Tough question. So there's two types of insurance.
I don't
Generally,
know.
important issue with insurance. So from this, what's the issue? Based on the basic principle, that's one. That's the first one. Secondly, because it is considered as Abdul Mu'awdah or sale transaction. In Islam, for sale transaction, it has to be clear. You purchase $100, you need to know what you are getting. Okay? If it's for tabarru'ats, benevolent contract such as donation, it's okay. Let's say I will donate anything inside my pocket. So it's okay. Compared to I'll tell you whatever inside my pocket. That's not allowed. So you need to understand that's why the basis of the Islamic equivalent of insurance, which is takaful, it is based on contribution. mutual cooperation among the contributors rather than purchasing from the insurance company itself to provide guarantee. Previously in Singapore, we do have takaful company offering such protections. However, because of this lack of demand or the demand is not sustainable, so they had to close. Okay, so this is one of the issues that I mentioned in our moving forward. We need to support. Once these products are out there, then we need to support it. Okay. So at this juncture, what should we do? If it's those which is obligated by the government, then we need to release our necessities, such as our CPF, life, or anything related to the government, DPS, etc. Okay. Then, additional. Okay. There's two types of insurance. The first one is general. Secondly is life. Okay. For general, yes, it still has concerns with regards to it. However, some scholars in Singapore context, scholars in Singapore, they allow it, especially medical, because the cost of medicine or to seek, going to the hospital, it's better to have enough protection. So you are allowed to do that. However, for life, there's big concern with regards to the riba item because they'll be investing in fixed deposits. Usually, they place money with the banks, get fixed returns, as well as they'll be investing in the non-Sharia compliant stocks. That's the issue with the life. Okay, if these items or the prohibited elements can be removed, then by all means. Okay. Overall concept, it's very good to protect yourself. Even Islam asks us to actually manage our risk. However, these are the Sharia concerns that we need to address before we would say that it is halal tayyiba or Sharia compliant. Okay. I hope it's okay with the answer.
Okay, the next question is, what's the permissibility of a property agent advising people to purchase HDBs and then renting them out to make money?
Before that, where are you staying? Let's say you purchase and you're renting it out. Firstly, you are not allowed to do so during your MOP. Unless after MOP, then it's different. Okay, so long as you have a place to stay, then maybe you are actually working or migrating. You still have a HDB in Singapore, then by all means you can rent it out. Okay, but to purchase and rent it out at this point of time, I don't think so it's allowed. Because if you are renting it legally, you need to seek permission from HDB. Yeah.
Okay, next question is, this may be out of topic, but can I ask, I learned that some companies may pay their employees with shares. Is that permissible?
So long as the company is permissible. Okay, the source. This is one of benefits working in public listed companies, or maybe some private companies do. They do also, offer to their employees. This is part of retaining them. Yeah. Such as if you are, if you have the opportunity to work with public listed companies such as Accenture, I was made to understand that one of the benefits after you are confirmed as a staff, you are able to purchase their shares. So long as the company is Sharia compliant, then you are allowed to do so. Provided sometimes we leverage in purchasing the shares. That's another issue. Okay, if you are leveraging, make sure that the instrument that you are using is Sharia compliant. Okay, or else whatever cash that you have, then you pay as within your means.
Okay, I think will be the last question for the segment. Do I follow Mui's opinions even though I disagree?
For which one?
I don't know.
Okay. We need to understand in terms of law of the land, that opinion or government will refer to that. Okay, for Muiz, they will get Muiz guidance or rulings if let's say there's an issue with regards to that. If you do not subscribe to Muiz's opinion, definitely, if you can see, most of the fatwa issued by Muiz is on the lenient side, on the permissibility side. So most likely you are subscribing to the other opinion which is not permissible. So if you subscribe to that view, definitely you are not allowed to do that. Okay? If you think that HDB or the mortgage, even out of necessity, you are not allowed to do so, then if you have means to rent it out, rent the house, then by all means, that would be better. But if you do not have the means, I mean, at that point of time, the income that you have it allows you to actually get a mortgage rather than renting out. Even today, to rent a 3-room flat, it costs you around 2,500, 3,000, depend on the places. And let's say for 3-room flat, how much is the mortgage? Less than that. You see? So would you be able to pay the rent? So, okay, that's why, out of necessity, then we subscribe to the view by the European Council.
Okay, this the Okay, in the essence of time, this is the end of the Q&A segment.